You could call it 6 degrees of Kombi separation. Somewhere, somehow, just about all of us have a VW bus lurking in our family and or friends' backstory. And this is the latest iteration of that familiar box on wheels to hit the Australian new car market. It's the more premium, sportier, all-wheel drive GTX version of the pure electric Volkswagen ID.Buzz. This one-box wonder hits the retro futurist ball out of the park, and we're here at its local launch to see if what's under the skin supports the promise of its stunning exterior. The VW ID.Buzz GTX 4Motion is priced at a fraction under $110,000 before on-road costs, which puts it in the same price zone as a diverse range of large, primo people haulers.
The ID.Buzz GTX competes with three-row EVs like the Kia EV9, LDV MIFA 9, and if you stretch the price equation a little further, the Zeekr 009. But in terms of style and personality, this machine lives in a world of its own. Maybe its VW California Beach sibling comes closest. However, that van's traditional turbo diesel power stands in stark contrast to the ID.Buzz's pure electric vibe. Once you've crested the 100k mark, it's fair to expect a healthy list of included features, and the ID.Buzz GTX doesn't disappoint. For a full list, check out our detailed written review at carsguide.com.au. But the highlights include adaptive cruise control, auto LED matrix headlights, 13-speaker Harman Kardon audio, 3-zone climate control, a panoramic glass roof, 30-colour ambient lighting, power-adjustable heated front seats and 21-inch alloy rims. That's class competitive, and there's more where that came from. The ID.Buzz GTX is characterised by a unique front bumper with new integrated daytime running lights near its outer edges and a narrower black honeycomb grille. GTX badging and the exterior mirror housings are finished in high gloss black, and 21-inch alloy wheels are standard. The rich cherry red solid paint finish of the launch test car is exclusive to the GTX, and it's a fair bet many buyers will stump up the extra 4K required for a two-tone treatment, in this case with silver as the highlight colour. The interior is familiar ID.Buzz territory, with the long broad dashtop pushing the windscreen and small front windows beside it into a quintessentially Kombi bay window style design. A 12-inch central multimedia screen sits proud of the multi-layered dash, and a slick 5.3-inch LCD instrument and car data display is fixed in front of the driver. A black headliner dials up the sporty feel, the electric front seats are a GTX-specific design, and the synthetic diamond pattern microfleece trim is highlighted by red contrast stitching and piping. The red cross stitching extends to the steering wheel, and smile-inducing stainless steel play and pause symbols on the accelerator and brake pedals are retained. The Sub-Zero cool exterior design manages to merge with a more restrained and practical interior perfectly. VW has solid retro form with the new Beetle from the 1990s, and this primo ID.Buzz looks amazing. It drew an instant crowd of curious onlookers every time we stopped.
The ID.Buzz GTX is a twin-motor all-wheel drive, producing around 250 kilowatts and close to 600 newton meters. Interestingly, that ups its towing capacity from 1 tonne to 1600 kg.
A single-speed transmission sends drive primarily to the rear wheels to maximise efficiency. The dual-motor setup able to direct power to the front axle as required during acceleration or to manage available traction. At close to 5 metres long and just under 2 metres wide, the ID.Buzz long wheelbase is road trip ready, with heaps of breathing room for all 7 occupants. Placement of the gear shift on the right-hand side of the steering column frees up extra space in the front, and there's heaps of storage including a movable and removable centre console unit between the front seats with pull-out drawers at either end, 2 trays in each door, the lower one offering room for multiple large bottles, a decent glove box and a fold-out dual cup holder unit. There's also an oddment shelf in front of the front passenger, a wireless device charging slot in the dash, and adjustable fold-down armrests on both sides of the front seats. Pull the handle on the power opening sliding side doors and the second row opens up, with 3 seating positions offering hectares of room in all directions. This row can be moved 200mm longitudinally if a turf war erupts with those in the third row. And storage is great with 2 pockets and a fold-out table on each front seat back, as well as huge door bins with waste baskets included. There are also adjustable vents with temperature control in the roof. There's enough head and legroom for adults in the rear, although the backrest is relatively upright. Even access is straightforward and there are numerous storage trays, cup holders, air vents and storage slots back there. Power across the cabin runs to 2 USB-C ports in the dash, another in the front passenger area and 4 USB-C charging sockets across the rear. Boot space increases from a handy 300 odd litres with all seats up to more than 1,300 litres with the 50-50 split folding third row down, and roughly 2,500 litres with it and the 60-40 split second row lowered. That's plenty. And that 1.6 tonne brake trailer towing capacity means a jet ski, even a mid-sized camper trailer, is within hauling range. The power tailgate is welcome, and the rear of the boot's load platform sits above 2 storage boxes. But you won't find a spare of any description back there. A repair inflator kit is your only option. So beware, a flat could really suck the air out of this mobile family room. The ID.Buzz GTX's 86 kWh lithium-ion battery delivers a claimed range of 473 kilometres, and the car uses a CCS Type 3 socket. VW includes a Mode 2 and Mode 3 cable as standard. Claimed 10 to 80% DC fast charge time is 26 minutes and 9 hours at maximum 11 kilowatt AC capacity. Claimed energy consumption on the combined cycle is 20.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, and over several hundred kilometres of mainly B-road and freeway running on the launch, we saw an average of 24.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, which isn't out of order given the type of driving involved.
Despite the fact that it weighs in at around 2.8 tonnes, Volkswagen Australia says this car will accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in 6.4 seconds and on to 160 km/h maximum velocity if you dare. And there is always some serious oomph lurking under your right foot. We're doing about 65 km/h, pin the accelerator, and in a couple of blinks of an eye, you're doing 95. So plenty of go under the right foot. It's been pretty windy today, and this car really is like a loaf of bread. It's about as high as it is wide, and we've been buffeted a little bit. It moves if you get hit with a particular gust, but overall, despite its proportions, it's pretty good. Some wind noise does come over the front on the freeway, but never to an alarming degree.
The ID.Buzz rides on VW's modular electric drive platform, and there's been past criticism of the short wheelbase version's ride quality, but there are no such issues here.
Suspension is by struts at the front and semi-trailing arms at the rear, and this GTX has had a suspension retune with particular attention paid to things like the dampers. And we're driving in northern New South Wales on the coast, where sadly there's been yet another recent flood event, and shout out to anybody that's been dealing with that. But amongst other things, it's meant that the roads have seen better days, and we've covered potholes, bumps, thumps, you name it. And maybe it's a combination of that suspension retune and the longer wheelbase, but I think it's handled it pretty well. You do get the occasional jitter on B roads, coarse kind of surfaces, but overall it's pretty good.
There are 5 drive modes with comfort the default. Eco smooths out acceleration, tapers the climate control and reduces overall power, while Sport dials up the powertrain, suspension and steering. Traction optimises the all-wheel drive system for loose or slippery surfaces, and Individual allows you to cherry-pick various attributes for a custom setup.
Steering is progressive rate. You can feel it loading up nicely as you head into a corner. Not the last word in terms of road feel, but the car does point pretty accurately and the turn-in is nice and progressive. At the same time, you've got the front and rear electric motors constantly shuffling drive from the front axle to the back axle and helping you out if you really want to have a bit of a crack in the corners and take up this car's sporty personality. Tyres are hand-cooked Ventus EV specials, 235/45 at the front, 265/40 at the rear, And we've been into some long sweeping bends, taken at pretty decent speed. They've gripped nice and hard. We're also on a coarse chip surface, a B road right now, getting a little bit of rumble, but it's far from a roar. It's acceptable as far as I can see. Braking is by large ventilated discs in the front and, believe it or not, drums at the back. But, you know, what you can say is that a well-designed drum still works pretty effectively, and the regenerative braking in an EV like this one certainly helps in terms of washing off speed. In terms of lower speed manoeuvres, you've got a 360-degree camera view as well as a reversing camera and front and rear parking sensors. And if you really need some help, Park Assist Plus will help get the job done for you. In terms of ergonomics, these front seats, we've spent hours behind the wheel and they've remained comfortable, and they're nice and supportive in terms of lateral grip. The steering wheel, speaking of grip, is nice and grippy as well. And the screens, this really cool little 5.3-inch instrument and car data display is clear as a bell, and the large 12-inch media screen is easy to use, and working through the different screens is pretty intuitive.
The current ID.Buzz range hasn't been assessed by ANCAP, although its sister organisation Euro NCAP awarded it a maximum 5-star rating in 2022. As you'd expect, a full suite of driver assistance tech is on board, including highway speed AEB, adaptive cruise, lane keeping assist, lane change assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, driver fatigue monitoring, tyre pressure monitoring, and more. The airbag count runs to 7, including curtains covering the second and third rows, as well as a front centre bag. There are 5 top tethers for child restraints, 3 across the second row and 2 in the back row, with 4 ISOFIX anchors across both rear rows.
The ID.Buzz GTX is covered by Volkswagen Australia's 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty with 2 years roadside assist included. The drive battery also features 8-year 160,000 kilometre cover. Now, it's worth noting that main warranty is in line with the mainstream market, but there are competitors stepping that time out to as much as 10 years.
There's a 12-year corrosion perforation warranty, and keep servicing with an authorised VW dealer, and that roadside assistance support will be rolled over for another 2 years each time. The recommended maintenance interval is 2 years 30,000 kilometres. Standard scheduled service pricing is $687 for each of the first 5 workshop visits, while prepaid plans covering 6, 8 or 10 years represent savings of between 30 and 35%, which is pretty handy.
The only way to make this car cooler would be to add a split folding windscreen and a tube steel luggage rack on the roof. It's fast, super practical and comfortable, guaranteed to put a smile on the face of family car buyers looking for something different in the over 100k segment. It'll also put a smile on the face of just about everyone who lays eyes on it. I love it. Est bulli leb veta.